Israel may occupy a small space on the map, yet its presence on the global stage often seems far larger than its borders suggest. This contrast prompts a compelling question. How does a nation with scarce natural resources and a modest population exert such visible influence worldwide? The answer lies not in territorial expanse, but in strategic positioning, intellectual capital, and integration into international networks. In today's financial world, power is not determined by size or population, but by connectivity, innovation, and access to decision-making circles. Israel's impact emerges from its skillful participation in global markets, not from controlling them. Distinguishing influence from control is essential, as conflating the two leads to oversimplified assumptions. Israel operates as an adaptive participant within a complex global system, not as its omnipotent architect. From the earliest days of statehood, Israel emphasized survival through careful planning rather than relying on natural resources. With limited oil, modest agricultural land, and minimal industrial infrastructure, the country invested heavily in education, science, and institutional frameworks. These strategic choices built an economy oriented toward value creation rather than mere extraction. Financial resilience became a national priority, guiding policies that encouraged innovation-driven growth and international integration. Instead of attempting to create a closed financial system, Israel aligned with established global markets, particularly in the West. This alignment provided credibility, capital access, and participation in international financial flows. Israel's economic strength is structural and strategic, reflecting foresight and adaptation rather than secret dominance. One of Israel's most valuable assets is its highly skilled workforce. Education, research, and technical training have been central in shaping the nation's economic identity. Human capital acts as financial leverage, allowing high-value production without large-scale manufacturing. This approach fits seamlessly into the global knowledge economy, where innovation and expertise attract investment and influence. Israeli professionals and companies are integrated into multinational projects, funds, and financial networks. Their visibility may appear disproportionate to Israel's size, but it reflects skill and competence rather than control. Human capital creates opportunities, not ownership over global systems. Israel's reputation as a technology hub directly affects global financial dynamics. Venture capital, private equity, and institutional investors gravitate toward innovation-driven environments. Israeli startups and research centers continuously attract funding worldwide, generating ongoing capital inflows. Yet this does not imply Israel directs global financial movements. Instead, it competes successfully in an open market. Capital flows toward opportunity and potential, not political loyalty. Financial systems respond to risk and return, and Israel has positioned itself as a competitive destination. Its influence is transactional, not commanding. Like a magnet, it attracts capital nearby without controlling the entire field. Israel's economy is deeply embedded in Western financial institutions, including banks, stock exchanges, and regulatory frameworks. This integration provides access, legitimacy, and stability, but also imposes limits. Participation requires adherence to shared rules and oversight. Israel does not operate outside the global system. It functions within it. Claims of unilateral control overlook the complexity of international finance shaped by countless states, institutions, and market forces. Israel benefits from system openness, but so do many other nations. Influence within a system should not be confused with ownership. Integration brings opportunity alongside constraint, confirming Israel's role as participant rather than puppet master. Today, power flows more through networks than rigid hierarchies. Israeli individuals and firms are active in networks spanning finance, technology, academia, and policy. Networks amplify influence by connecting ideas, capital, and decision-makers. However, networks are decentralized by design. No single node controls the entire structure. Israel's visibility can create the impression of outsized power, particularly when its representatives occupy key positions. Yet, visibility does not equal dominance. Networks reward contribution and reliability, not nationality alone. Israel's strength lies in adding value within these networks, rather than commanding them from above. Financial influence is often interpreted through a political lens, especially in conflict-sensitive regions. Israel's geopolitical context magnifies scrutiny of its economic relationships. Political alliances can facilitate market access, but they cannot override fundamental financial logic. Markets operate based on incentives, regulations, and risk assessments. Perceptions of control often stem from political narratives rather than economic reality. While political ties may enhance cooperation, they do not grant unilateral authority over global finance. Perception can amplify influence beyond its actual scope. Media often presents global finance in simplified terms, reducing complex systems to single actors. Israel is sometimes portrayed as a central controller because this narrative is dramatic and engaging. In reality, global finance is competitive, fragmented, and resistant to centralized control. Oversimplification fosters myths that obscure structural realities. Israel's role becomes exaggerated when context is ignored. Understanding finance requires attention to institutions, incentives, and empirical data, not symbolic storytelling. Media narratives suggesting absolute power should be critically examined. Economic power refers to the ability to create value, attract investment, and influence outcomes. Financial control implies direct command over monetary flows, institutions, and policy decisions on a global scale. These are distinct concepts. Israel demonstrates economic power in sectors like technology and innovation. Financial control, however, remains distributed among major economies, central banks, and multinational institutions. No single nation, particularly a small one, holds total authority. Israel's strength lies in specialization rather than domination. Recognizing this distinction clarifies misunderstandings about its role. Israel is not unique in exerting influence beyond its size. Nations such as Singapore, Switzerland, and the Netherlands also play significant roles in global finance and trade. These countries illustrate how strategic location, governance quality, and specialization can amplify influence. Israel fits within this pattern rather than standing apart. Comparing Israel to other small yet influential economies highlights shared strategies rather than exceptional control. Influence arises from integration and competence, not secrecy or manipulation. This perspective reduces sensationalism and restores analytical balance. Every form of power has limits, and financial influence is no exception. Israel remains subject to global economic cycles, regulatory shifts, and geopolitical risks. External shocks affect its economy, just as they do others. Dependence on international markets brings both opportunity and vulnerability. If Israel truly controlled the financial system, it would be insulated from these pressures. But it is not. Recognizing these limits reinforces that Israel operates within constraints. Influence exists, but it is conditional, negotiated, and often fragile. The notion that Israel controls the world's financial system oversimplifies a far more complex reality. Israel is a small nation with a developed, strategically positioned economy, enabling influence in specific areas. This influence is real, but not absolute. Global finance is shaped by numerous actors, forces and institutions operating simultaneously. Israel's role is better described as impactful participation rather than centralized control. Understanding this nuance moves the conversation from myth to analysis, replacing speculation with structure. In a global system defined by interdependence, no single nation truly holds the reins.